Hi guys, welcome back to another Impact and Influence series. Today we've got Daniel McCulloch with us from McCulloch Agencies. How are you, Daniel?
G'day, Kylie. Good, thank you. How are you?
Great. So for anyone that's listening that hasn't met you before, who's Daniel McCulloch? Where do you operate?
Daniel McCulloch, he's the Crocodile Dundee of the real estate industry compared to all you down in Sydney, I suppose. But no,
Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled.
Basically we're a family business in Tamworth. We've got 3 branches. We've got Tamworth as our main office. We've got Quirindi office in Sydney at the moment. So we've got another one on the go. But just to burn it all my life for the agency game. And we're probably a pretty diverse business, I suppose. We've sort of got rural property, residential real estate, property management, and then we've also got a livestock and finance division as well. So we're sort of a pretty all-round business.
And only 2 years now that you've been out on
2
your
years
own?
out with McCulloch Agencies, been sort of left school in 2002 and then sort of been a livestock agent up until, been an agent all my life, I suppose, yeah.
So when you left school and you went straight into the agency game, it was the stock game.
Yeah.
You had some really good success early. So won the Young Auctioneers at the Sydney Royal Easter Show.
Yep.
And went to Calgary to compete for Australia.
Yep.
How was that experience?
Yeah, it was good. It looks a long time ago now, but it was a great experience. It got me on the map a bit, I suppose. It would happen right at the time when I started my own business when I was 20 as a business called Davidson, Cameron, McCulloch and Co. I was, backed by a business and a couple of good blokes.
Yep.
And and you look at 20-year-old blokes now and you think, geez, how would I have done it back then? But obviously, I did, and somehow I did, and just put kept both feet on the accelerator, I suppose. And but winning that competition then sort of just set me up. It was good. It was good.
Yeah, and you're talking about the guys in Sydney that are watching. There's plenty of us that have had agency in Sydney that have gone out and sat in the crowd and looked for the next big talent from auctioneering. It's a really good place to start and a foundation piece.
Yes, yep.
And standing up in front of how many people?
Oh, hundreds, probably thousands. I don't know, but Calgary was good. Like just representing.
Yeah, tell us about Calgary.
No, it was just good. I remember. It was just good going over there. Just meeting people, meeting different people. They're a completely different auctioneering style to us. And look, even residential, like real estate auctioneering to livestock auctioneering is 2 different things as well, you know what I mean? But livestock auctioneering in Canada is completely different. So, but it was good.
How's it different?
Oh, it's just, they got a lot more rhythm and song and upbeat, and they're calling a bit ahead of themselves where we're calling a bit, they're calling for a bit they want. We're calling what we've got. And they're very, very fast paced. And, to an audience here, they're very hard to understand, I believe. Whereas we're a lot because we're out. A livestock auctioneer's out in the elements, and we could be auctioneering at a clearing sale for 8 hours straight. Okay, we're not
it's extraordinary when you think about it.
It's a different. So we've got to train our voices and train our guts and train our to be able to the longevity of auctioneering, not just get up there and look pretty with our pinstripe pants. We've got to make sure, we're yelling 20 feet across a yard of 50 cattle, so we've got to make sure our voice projection gets across that pen of cattle in the middle of summer.
I've grown up in a regional rural area, and I've never really thought about it till now when you said about we've got to train, our stomach muscles, and we've got to train our voice, and we go for 8 hours a day, because I've been to plenty of clearing sales and cattle sales, but I've never thought about it until you just kind of said it.
And you're dealing. You're not selling to somebody that's the first time buying a house. You're selling. You're auctioneering to a professional buying audience. That is their whole and solely income is to buy livestock as the best quality and pricing as they can for the meat company they're buying for or feedlot they're buying for. So they're attuned. They know their weights. And it's just a different auctioneering style completely.
Sure is. And Daniel, for the people that are listening today that perhaps haven't come across McCulloch Agencies before, I think they obviously need to keep an eye out for the business moving forward. So you're 2 years out. Some recent numbers that your general manager shared with me, which I hope you don't mind us sharing today, are pretty exceptional.
Any good?
So,
I haven't seen them yet.
Recent. Oh, that's good. I've seen it before you. So some recent numbers: 180 million in sales in real estate, which is extraordinary. Grown your rent roll organically from a cold start to 311 properties in sort of 18 months, which is unbelievable. 3 staff to 18, just about to open a 4th office. Tell us about the cattle numbers and the stock numbers. Like how many cattle have you sold since you started the business 2 years ago?
Look at that video. I can't remember. What did he say?
Yeah, so the cattle numbers, here we go. 56,000 cattle, 165,000 lambs and 60,000 sheep. on top of the numbers that we've just talked about for real estate.
Yeah, I know.
How have you done that in that
I
time?
don't know. Is that good or bad? I don't know.
It's pretty exceptional.
I
know a lot of business owners that would
yeah.
love to grow their rent roll organically in that period of time.
Yeah.
And so for the people listening that may not know, you had no experienced long-term salespeople in the real estate game. They were all pretty green. So to come out of the blocks and do like 180 million in real estate sales with a green team is extraordinary.
Yeah.
So talk to us about your team then. So
Look, we've got a team of 18 people now, I suppose. So it's a pretty, you look back now, everything's happened pretty quick, and there's probably a few events that happened that sort of made us where we were, I suppose. So basically, I'd been with the business for a long time, and then it sold out into the corporate sort of agency business, I suppose, and I'm more of a family-orientated, family business type person where you can, whether it's like the Wild West and you can make a decision from the hip, and if somebody needs to be shot, you can shoot them. And if somebody...
Yes, we've had some interesting discussions about that over the last 12 months. We do.
The corporate thing, you've got to... nobody's got accountability. It's very hard to make a decision on the run, and nobody wants to own up for a decision. Whereas, at the end of the day, if we want to make a decision, it's the wrong one. Well, tomorrow we can wake up and
you
change
do
it
move
again.
really quickly.
Yeah.
So speed is, I'm looking back. Speed and pivoting
100%.
has been.
And not be afraid of failure, I suppose, or the fear of failure. I suppose that's probably, when we first started, we come to the biggest drought in history. We'd just been through the Supreme Court. We had people sitting on the sideline that couldn't start with us for a while, and everybody thought we were going to go broke. So it's just that fear of actually going hungry and dying.
True. Because stop worrying about what could go wrong and start worrying about what could go right. It's not dress rehearsal, right? You can't do it next time.
Yeah.
And you've done some cool stuff with coming out and thinking about new things like the hobby farm sale. Do you want to talk to us about that? Because I didn't even share those numbers.
So hobby farm sale. So basically there was a opportunity there. We thought a lot of the small people, the young people, they want to get into agriculture, but there's no avenue to get in. So what we done, it wasn't we created it. It used to be done 20 years ago, but it's a very it's a sale that there's not much money in. We don't make a hell of a lot of money out of it. Like you're selling, we charge...
So like goods and chattels.
Goods and chattels. So we're selling chooks for, $10, and we charge 10% commission and 5% buyer's premium. So by selling one chook, we make $1.50. You know what I mean? It's not, we're not real cool. You know what I mean? You look at all these people that, in real estate that they're saying they're writing $1 million commission. We're selling chooks for $1.50. Okay. But our game, I suppose, is we want to be in business for 20 years. Okay. So I'm 36 now. I want to be retired when I'm 55, and then I want, travel Australia or travel the world. When I've still got energy. Okay. So that's I suppose our grand plan. So we want to set things up now. So we've got a business that's making money in 20 years' time, because, that's what I find with a lot of real estate people. I hope you don't mind me, but just an outsider looking in, like real estate is very crash and burn. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people in real estate, it's like they wear a costume. They wake up in the morning, they put their real estate costume on, and they go out, and they don't have the respect and longevity. Some people do. There's no doubt about that.
I definitely think there's the authentic ones. I mean, look, it's
100%. There is.
It's an image of the industry. That I think that over the last 10 or 15 years, the barriers come down a lot on that.
Yep.
And I'm always saying to the clients that I work with, be yourself. Everyone
100%.
else has already taken.
100%.
And clients will smell that bullshit. And they've just got to be authentic about what they do. And I think we're getting better as an industry, but certainly that facade of the industry, we need to try and knock down.
You just got to be yourself. Absolutely, just be yourself. Basically we had a green team. So and a lot of those people hadn't been in the industry for over 5 years. They there wouldn't have been a salesperson livestock or residential. Writing over 200 grand, but now we've got a writer, Christy Reed, wrote 700 last year. You know what I mean? So it's
not bad in her second year out.
Absolutely amazing. Yeah. But she's just got no bullshit. She just sees it how it is. If she likes it, she likes it. If she doesn't, she doesn't. And what you see is what you get, and that's why she's been so successful.
And she's great at qualifying as well. I've heard her dialogue change dramatically in the last 6 to 8 months.
Yep.
And I always say that real estate is about process and systems. It's not that hard. And she just seems to have got it. And she's got that flywheel now. She gets the process, she gets the system, and that's why she's, having the wins that she's having.
100%.
What's next for McCulloch Agencies?
So what's next? I suppose, Wauchope's, I don't know when this comes live, but Wauchope's...
We'll do it after you can announce it.
So basically, we've just bought a business in Wauchope. So Wauchope's a town just to the east of where we are. So basically, we see it as a strategic location for us. It wasn't something we was looking for. It's something that a business approached us, or an investor approached us to come in with them. So basically, there's a sale yard over there on a piece of real estate. So we've got a person has bought that, an investor's bought that, and then we've bought a business over there. It's a great strategic next step for us, I suppose, because a lot of we're trying to get that Tamworth Sydney connection. And then also, with Wauchope and Port Macquarie, there's a lot of business done from Sydney up that way, and there's a lot of business done from Tamworth, and the northwest.
That migration, it's like the golden circle.
So that's it. That's the thing. The business there at the moment is nearly wholly and solely cattle, and they've got a very small rent roll. But we want to do what we've done in Tamworth and make it a diverse business. So, have a rural property salesperson, have a residential person, have a livestock person, and have that really business. A bit we're definitely old-fashioned. There's no doubt about that compared to a lot of other agents.
I actually wouldn't call you guys old-fashioned. I just think you're humble and really authentic and really transparent. And that's I reckon different. Like, you've harnessed technology in the business. You're actually quite a sophisticated real estate business and stock business. I've seen what you do, with the cattle and the yards and so I don't know.
I just like every day I sit down and go through my handwritten diary. I just feel like I'm old fashioned. But I say to
that's okay if it's not broken, don't fix it.
No, I know. But everybody else uses all these CRMs and all these flash things like that. I've still used the old handwritten diary, 2 pages a day, and just maps out my whole day. I think my calendar actually is on. You'd be pretty proud of me. My calendar is on Outlook now. I think
you've gone to electronic calendar. That's only so we can all find you
Yeah.
when we need to find
That's
you.
Right.
And talking about finding you, sometimes you're on the ground, sometimes you're in the yard, sometimes you're on the property, sometimes you're in the air.
Yeah.
Tell us about when you got your pilot's license.
So when did I get that? So it was funny how it all came about. Like it was. When I went from being a livestock agent to a rural property agent, you know what I mean? That in the rural property game, what used to happen, you'd be a livestock agent until you're just about burnt out, so you're sort of 55 and you had no energy to keep running. You had 10 more years of employment, so you become a property agent. That's what happened. Okay, so I seen a bit of a thing. I thought, well, there's a lot more money to be made in rural property. Why don't a young bloke come in there? So then, this is before drones, see? So I thought, aerial photography.
Daniel and I have had some very interesting discussions over the last 10 or 15 years about marketing.
So aerial photography, how good would it be to get an aerial photography? So I used to actually hire planes. Okay, so they'd get there and you'd hire a photographer in a plane, and you'd get up there and you'd get a bill for $1,500. I'm thinking, Jesus, you know what I mean? So why don't we buy one? So that was probably the worst decision of my life. Anyway.
So I love it. Most people hire someone to come in and do copywriting and drone.
Yeah.
You get a plane.
Yeah. So, but anyway, there wasn't drones back then. So basically, as soon as we bought the plane, and then we start getting, maintenance bills for 15 and 20 grand a year, and all this sort of stuff, and fuel bills and all that sort of stuff.
But how long did it take you to learn your pilot's license? Because I'm quite open with it. You say, look, I wasn't that academic at school, but
100%.
But studying for fixed wing is difficult.
Yeah. It's flying a plane isn't actually that hard. Like actually steering it and putting the throttle here and there.
A bit like a tractor.
Yeah, it's 100%. Like it is actually easy to fly. The theory part of it's hard. Like I think I failed 3 or 4 times. Like there's no. I'm not the smartest tool in the shed. There's no doubt about that. But I got it somehow.
You seem to be doing all right. You seem to be doing all right.
I got it. But no, it's good. It's good. But yeah, I suppose it's.
And you use that in the business, like
we hire it now. So we sold the plane. So we don't have enough unless you're doing 100 hours a year, which we're not at the moment. But we just hire one now. So yes, like I was at Forbes on the weekend, took the family down there. But we're speaking to a bloke at Blackwall today. If I can get over the border, we'll probably try and get up there and look at some cattle. That's just handy. Like time's our biggest thing. Like everybody's, your time. Everybody says their time poor, but if you can somehow make that more efficient.
Yeah, we all have the same hours in a week.
100%.
You seem to fit a lot more in than most.
Yeah.
Do you want to share, or can you share about your cattle transaction you're involved in the Territory last year?
So basically, we done a deal up there. We sold 13,000 cattle for a total sale value of $15 million. Basically, it was the biggest transaction in Australian history at the time. I don't think it's been broken since. There was a fellow called Tom Brinkworth beat it by head, but not by value. So it's a single vendor to single buyer, $15 million. So basically, it come out of a bloke I went to school with. So I shared a dorm with him in Farrer, and basically just kept the relationship. Like we're all in a game. We're in an industry of relationships, I suppose. And basically, he said, look, we want to sell some cattle, and I just in my diary wrote down who could buy that many cattle, and another mate I went to school with, and AIM Investments, they just bought a property in Queensland, and they needed to buy stock, and we negotiated a deal. I flew up there, spent 5 weeks in a stock camp delivering them. And it was
sleeping in the swag,
sleeping in the swag, like because I actually wanted to go up there when I was a young bloke, but I was too hungry to get into business, so I'd actually become an agent straight away. But look, it's one of the highlights of my career. There's no doubt about that. But
you should be incredibly proud.
Yeah,
of that.
No, it was good. It was good.
And something that your whole team is really big on is connectivity of your customer, and also connectivity within your team. So you do a lot together. Yep. What are some of the things you do to keep the team together and keep them motivated?
Oh, look, it sounds, corny or whatever you call it, but like, you say we're a family or whatever, but like, on our farms, we grow lambs, and, we all share the meat, you know what I mean? Like we'll get a butcher in, we'll get some lambs cut up. I think you've actually got a lamb or two.
Yes.
So it's just, it's like a family. Instead, like when we go on a Christmas holiday, not Christmas holiday, Christmas thingo, hire a little bus, we get all the partners involved, get some beers, just nothing flash, just get some eskies, drink a fair bit of grog, get pissed, tell some stories, but it's just good, you know what I mean?
I think you've got each other's back. That's what I've really noticed.
100%,
particularly earlier, when you started at McCulloch Agencies, there was a lot of loyalty given to both sides, and I think that meant a lot.
Yes.
But you've been crystal clear, is what I've found, with clarity and where you want to go and what your expectations are with the team. If you had to do it again, is there anything you would change?
I don't think so. Look, I just think going into something, and just not be afraid of failing. That's what we've just thought. Look, the worst thing that can happen is we can fail, so we'll just make a decision on the spot. I don't think I would change anything. Probably just, that I'm a bit slack for picking up technology. There is a lot of things I reckon in our business that we could do better if we understand technology, and I think that's my fault. I always go back to the paper diary because I know it works. I know it, and that's, I think, what we done early in the piece, I suppose, is know my strengths and my weakness. I suppose I'm not that good at management as such. I love getting out there, doing deals, growing the business, looking for the next thing, taking that risk. Risk doesn't worry me, you know what I mean? Because I say about our bank manager, I say, because we borrow a heap of money. Like I'll borrow as much money as somebody will give me, okay? And I say, my wife's very conservative, and our general manager, Kieran's very conservative, but I always say, what's the worst thing a bank manager can do to you, okay? They can't cut your arm off, they can't take your kids away from you, and they can't send you to jail, okay? So, and just look at if you look at life like that, you know what I mean? If you go into a decision, I say this with our team all the time, making phone calls. Like everybody hates making phone calls. So to a phone list, what's the worst thing that can happen? Like it's not that bad. Like if you actually sit back and you ring somebody up and they say, look, it's Daniel McCulloch from McCulloch Agencies. I'm just ringing to say, g'day, can I help you with anything in real estate? Let us know. What's the worst thing going to do? They're not going to tell you to piss off.
No, and what I love about the call sessions that we've done with your team over the years is you actually get there and show them how to do it, because your team, because you're such a courageous leader, and you'll just go and do it. Like you would never ask anyone on your team to do something you wouldn't do, right?
Yeah.
So, but actually being on the floor and showing them, because a lot of people don't wake up and they're so fearful.
They're scared.
About ringing people.
What's going to happen? Like nothing will happen. Like it's
so
not
helping them overcome that fear, 100%. I think, has been
just don't
instrumental to your success.
And I think probably people are scared of embarrassment, maybe too. Like I see with social a lot. Like and you probably taught me this. Like just get yourself out there and be real. And we've tried with our team, but I just see it in them that they're scared of being embarrassed by their friends and their peers. You know what I mean?
And it's all in the delivery, right?
Yeah. So you just don't be scared of embarrassed. Don't just get a failure. Just get in and have a go. Sorry, what would we do again? And I'm just saying what we did with our general manager. Like I'd identify what I was good at, what I was bad at, and that's why we put Kieran O'Gorman on as our general manager. So basically, he takes over that whole back end running of the business. So and he's very, very good at it, so, and it allows me time to, instead of trying to do everything, which a lot of business owners do, I reckon, they try and do everything, and they want to make it, they want to
do nothing well.
100%, and they become the bottleneck as such, and whereas I'm always trying to, develop a new team member and bring them behind me so we can. And Kieran's very good at getting me to do that. You know what I mean? So young Oliver Smith with his 6:30 starters, Christy, she's sort of developing herself. I've had George Barton, who was a previous Olympian. I've got him going for a couple of years now. Belinda McCarthy, she's coming with me now as getting her going from property management into sales. Like we're always, we're very lucky in the property management division. We've got a lady called Cynthia Lay that she's been doing it for 20 years.
Yeah.
She's a bit older than me, but she lives and breathes property management. I don't understand property management. I understand why it needs to be there and why it's so important to a business, but I don't understand it. So I'm just very, very lucky. We've always had good property management. Dom Ritter. I don't want to go through everybody's name, but you know what I mean? We've just got a very,
But
very
you're so
good,
proud of everybody,
and
you can see that, and I think that's great. So swim lanes, incredibly important. Know your greatest strengths, know your greatest weaknesses.
Yep.
And stick to what you're good at.
Yeah.
Don't be fearful.
Yeah.
Have clarity for your team, and be the best, most courageous leader you can be.
Yeah.
Daniel, thank you for sharing your time with us.
No worries at all. Thanks for having me.